Hello, I'm Amy Blaylock. Welcome to City Hall this week. Durham leaders say they're fed up with the recent increase in violent crime and are making it their mission to put a stop to it in the coming year. Mayor Bill Bell, Interim Police Chief Larry Smith, and Durham County Sheriff Mike Andrews held a briefing to discuss the recent violence on January 7th.
I've been with the police department now almost 28 years, and I haven't seen quite the level of shootings we've been having in the city as I've seen certainly in the last 8 months, but in the last year.
There were 42 homicides in Durham in 2015 and 2 already within the first 2 weeks of this year. In order to address this trend, Mayor Bell met with City Manager Tom Bonfield, Chief Smith, and Sheriff Andrews to discuss ramping up efforts and collaboration between law enforcement and the community.
We wanted to make sure that the general public understood that we take this issue of violent crime in our community very, very seriously. And not just for the general public, more specifically for those persons who are committing violent crimes in our community. It's not going to be tolerated. We don't tolerate it. We're going to put a stop to it, and they need to understand that.
The police department has already taken action in a couple of ways.
We've taken all of our proactive units and we have put them under our Special Operations Division commander. Those units come spread about the city. Some of them, our 4 heat teams, are under 4 different commanders, but now they'll be under one commander. Because we know that right now the city needs one mission, and that's dealing with the violent crime.
The department has also identified 19 individuals who are believed to be involved with the violence in some way.
And we're going to do everything we can within legal means to deal with those individuals, to put them in jail if they're the ones that's going to take up guns and shoot up our communities.
Both the police and sheriff's departments say that in addition to what they are doing, resident involvement is critical to preventing violence and solving these crimes.
Whether you live in northern Durham County, South Durham, East or Central Durham, this is your problem. This is everyone's problem. There is no such thing as not in my backyard. When it comes to bloodshed in our streets, our neighborhoods, and our communities.
Anyone with information about a crime can anonymously report what they know through Crime Stoppers. Simply call 919-683-1200. Durham's homeless point-in-time count is just around the corner, and volunteers are needed.
The homeless point-in-time count is an annual estimation of the number of people that are experiencing homelessness in the community.
80 to 100 volunteers are needed to canvass the county on Wednesday, January 27th. They'll be counting the homeless who are out in the elements from 9 p.m. until midnight. The count is required by the Department of Housing and Urban Development and is conducted every year in communities throughout the country in January.
It needs to be conducted mainly to determine what resources are needed to be able to address homelessness in communities across the country.
Most volunteers will be helping with the unsheltered count, which takes place in teams of 4 or 5.
For the people that are not in shelters, which are generally usually the most vulnerable people who are homeless, we actually have teams that go out and find them in the communities, and we administer a survey. And so that process is the most important part of the process, and also the most challenging part of the process, in that we need to have volunteers that are trained to do this, and we need to have law enforcement and the City of Durham Police Department and the Durham County Sheriff's Department assist with that.
Counting those who are in shelters is reliant on systems already in place and does not require the volunteers needed for the unsheltered count.
In shelters, the count is fairly simple because we use a system, an electronic system called Homeless Management Information System, and that's a web-based database that the shelter providers use, and they enter information on people that are staying in the shelters, and ultimately what we're able to do, because they use that system year-round, we're able to automate the count for anybody that's in the shelters. Not all of the shelter programs use that system, but the majority do, and so that makes the sheltered portion of the count relatively simple.
Volunteers who will be helping with the count are required to take part in one of 2 training sessions offered before the 27th.
We have training the Monday and Tuesday before the count, which is the 25th and 26th of January for this year. We have training for the volunteers, and that actually happens at City Hall. And there are 2 options that we have And those are 1 o'clock on the 25th, which is on Monday, and then 6 o'clock on the 26th, which is on Tuesday.
Volunteers will also give out donated items to those being surveyed to thank them for their participation in the count. Donations of socks, gloves, toboggans, soap, toothbrushes, toothpaste, deodorant, combs and brushes, bottled water, granola or Nutri-Grain bars, and canned meat will be accepted until January 25th. Donations can be dropped off in the main lobby of Golden Belt Building number 2. For more information about donating or volunteering, visit DurhamOpeningDoors.org. Meantime, the city will use federal funds to support a local organization's efforts to provide meals to homeless individuals and families and to others affected by poverty. Federal emergency shelter and housing funds will be used to help Urban Ministries of Durham provide meals through its Community Café. The cafe provides 3 meals every day to shelter residents and other individuals. Costs for the cafe are kept low because the majority of the labor is provided by volunteers. The bulk of the food is donated. Urban Ministries projects that it will need to provide 96,000 meals this year to accommodate 1,000 homeless shelter residents while they transition to permanent housing. The Water Management Department is undertaking an important project to evaluate the effectiveness of the city's water distribution system. Durham will spend $907,000 for a hydraulic model update, a water distribution system study, and a water audit project. The model was originally developed in 2002 to help evaluate major distribution system improvements. This project will update that model, evaluate the water distribution system for efficiency and capacity improvements, and identify potential leakages throughout the system. Another significant water management project will relocate and replace outdated and hard-to-reach water and sewer mains. The project area is from Wilson Street to the Ellerby Creek Sanitary Sewer Outfall, which is located just west of Carolina Avenue. Approximately $1.6 million will be spent to relocate 2,300 feet of sewer main to the city's right-of-way and to replace 350 feet with an existing easement. Because of the age and condition of the water mains within the same right-of-way, approximately 1,900 feet of those will also be replaced. The project is expected to improve access for future maintenance activities. It should also reduce disruptions to residents and lower the risk of private property damage from sewer repair or maintenance work. Good news for the city's Little Leaguers. More lit baseball fields will soon be available in Durham. $216,000 will be spent to install sports lighting at 2 baseball fields at Herndon Park. The park is located on Scott King Road and currently includes soccer fields, a multi-purpose field, and the baseball fields. The lighting system being installed is already in operation at 37 city sports fields and tennis courts, including the Durham Bulls Athletic Park and the Durham Athletic Park. That does it for City Hall this week. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find us on demand on Durham Television Network's webpage and on YouTube. I'm Amy Blaylock. Thank you for joining us. This has been a production of Durham Television Network.